the premise that we're going to talk about the agency of men under the influence of race, that actually has an enormous amount to do with it. This is being called the age of agency, and it's because so many people are being offered so many options to do things that they perhaps never would have been before. But the digital realm is giving people the option to click a couple of buttons and be able to go do just about anything, from online dating to shopping to VR, being able to see worlds. We have an entire digital landscape, an entire digital library of fantasy worlds now that exist in video games. You can be an NFL quarterback. You can be any NFL quarterback. You can be any number of other types of humans for fun. And the luxuries and accessibility that you now have are changing things so that you can now see yourself doing things or having access to things, whether those people who want to gatekeep you like it or not. And so what we're running into is this dilemma where men think that their agency comes from being tough, having testosterone, being muscular, being handsome, having all the girls and all this stuff, right? We could talk all day about how the agency of men is derived, but that only really guys like you who make the choice and do the work and make the thing happen actually deploy new agency. The thing that agency is, your ability to make decisions after planning, to execute the plan and see it come full circle into its substance. Now, the agency of men as a patriarchy was what gave us religions. It's what gave us politics in the modern sphere. And I don't mean like politics as like the substance of politics. I mean like how there are Republicans and Democrats. Like Republicans and Democrats are names that more than likely men chose and that were then utilized in the books that they wrote. The earliest scripts were written by men because men were the only ones allowed to have education. And so looking at what men gatekeep now about their own sense of like what they are entitled to have is to baby them. They baby themselves with luxuries, and women have to just fucking let them do it because they can hurt the women by turning into predators in the blink of an eye. Beat them up, rape them, burn down their houses, shoot them in the face, go to where they like to spend their time with other people and just kill everyone. Men are a threat to other people if they don't feel like they are being listened to. So in the modern sphere of agency, we were talking momentarily about how Black people are running into the exact same problem that white people are having as the two cultures sort of fuse together unknowingly. You will have, as I pointed out, Black incels and white incels coalescing with each other as long as they agree to some terms of communication. But you also see that in churches where people go to worship alongside one another. You see it in malls where people go to shop next to one another. And once upon a time, 60, 70 years ago, people could not fathom how that all worked together. So the premise of the object permanence loss is this, that your agency, your ability to summon fresh ideas and invent things in order to be able to build your pathway through life is fundamentally based on how well your life is already going. And it is the reason white people wanted you to feel that thing that you felt that they did not have to suffer through. You were made to be unagent by the terror and by the pain they caused you. They wanted to rip it away from you so that you wouldn't figure out how to do it better than they did. Not because they were doing it so well, but the only thing that they can think of, like I said before, is white culture isn't a thing. It's the outline of an absence of a thing. They don't have culture they can give. They don't have culture they can generate. It's rare and bare. But if you look at Black culture on the internet and you look at the white people who challenge it, at every fucking instance, as soon as you pull back that curtain on what they're doing, it's boring as fuck. Their shit is weak. Mass shooters' lives are boring and pathetic. And I want to sympathize with them in regards to the pain that they may feel that causes them to wish damnation upon other people. I wouldn't want anybody to suffer like they would think that their life is so worthless as that it may only have meaning by bringing violence to others. But fuck those guys, because they aren't that thing. They aren't crippled. They're just convinced of it. And then they lean into being convinced themselves and keeping that there. They are men who want to go to war in an era where the luxury of digital spaces has proven we just don't need them anymore. We don't need men of war. We don't need to go to war anymore because we have the luxuries to share games and music and cultures which we invent to delight our neighbors, to invite them over and to be invited to the parties they have so that we can mingle those things together. So the science of serotonin being the thing that gives you your thought processes, it comes from stability. The less stability you have, the more stress you have, the more anxiety you have, the more serotonin pops off at every little trigger. You look at Black people in ghettos and you think about gunshots in the air, you think about sirens in the air, you think about loud noises. And I'm autistic. Of course, I fucking know about the science of this stuff and what it does to your fucking brain. But when I look at how that impacted generations of people, I think to myself, well, of course they were stressed out. Of course they would have anxiety reactions. Of course they're having tons of trauma responses to stuff because look at this shit. Like, I don't want to live like that, and I don't want them to live like that. Holy shit, who would subjugate somebody to something like that? Oh, unimaginative, dumb motherfuckers. That's who.